Yeah, give it a minute. If you refresh, it will. Where are we? There you go. We're live.
Hello,
Yeah.
everyone. Welcome to the
Good
Shadow
evening.
Files.
Yeah, give it a
I
minute.
just got the notification.
Let's do it.
Let's go to live chat. We are in. I've got live chat going there.
I've got a delay. All I just heard in my chat then was that Fernando. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, you better turn your audio down.
My audio is down. Thank you very much.
No, your YouTube audio. So we will see where it goes from here. There we go with that bloody accent again.
There you go. I
Hey,
told you. I
Christy,
told
how are
you.
Hello, Christy. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to. And Dion is in. I don't know where Dion's coming in from. Look
From
like
home.
YouTube. Oh, smart ass.
Good day. Good day.
Yeah, we are a couple of minutes late. We've just been recording a show and we are gonna jump into this live and let's just get everything. Have we shared the link on Facebook yet?
No,
We'll have to do that.
I thought it popped up when you pressed live.
No, it does on my profile and it does on the Shadow Files page, but not in the in the Rapper group. So we need to share. I would actually share the.
Oh, was that click, 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 click? Sorry, forgot about that one.
I would actually share the YouTube link direct in our Wapper page and see if we can't get people in from there, because once they come across into YouTube, they can chat with us in there. If anybody wants to come on the show on video, you need to have obviously a camera, a microphone, and preferably headphones. So
And hopefully not a typewriter that I've got, because it can only be one of us.
Yeah, it's pretty bloody loud.
That felt so good.
Oh, man. Oh, shoot.
What have we done with it? Ow.
What was that?
Nothing.
We're trying to be professional here, but his house is demolishing around him.
It's my house is falling apart. It must be the UFO. No, it's the Scientologists.
Oh,
damn it.
That would be a good conversation starter.
What, the Scientologists are in my house?
No, I've just missed the chat. There we go. Back into it. No, what? Should we do that?
What?
Go and visit the Scientologists with our...
The Church of Scientology?
Yeah.
No, we wouldn't even get to the front doors. I wasn't even allowed in asking questions because I wasn't funding any money. And if you would like to know more, please give us more money.
I could get a T-shirt made up that says Scientologists suck, and then
hate speech.
Try and look in the front. It's not. It's a descriptor. It's not hate.
No, it's hate speech.
I am not telling them what they're sucking. Are they sucking on an icy pole? Are they sucking their thumbs?
Skin flutes.
Yep. No, we do have something that we are going to talk about. We're just waiting for a few people to pop in and say hello. So we've only got 3 watching at the moment, so we know 2 of them. I don't know who the third person is yet. It's probably me.
Gary.
Yeah. Oh, it's all right. I'm watching as well as taking part in. So
there you go. There you go.
Actually, now that I'm doing it this way, I can spin the camera around a little bit.
Oh yeah, I've chucked that link in.
Yep. Hopefully we get a few more people jumping in a bit later on. So.
Oh, it'd be nice. We got Dion. Dion, how you healing up, mate? Arm and your leg a bit sore.
And his leg.
As I said, arm and leg.
They should be all right now. They shouldn't be.
They should be. It's just getting a wee bit itchy.
Yeah, it won't be long before they hit that fun stage of tattoo, recuperation. So, yeah. How many people watched the episode through the week on the serial killers? If everybody says no, it stops this one really quickly. Oh shit! I did do that live, didn't I? I said that. Whoops. It's all right. There's only 3 people, and I'm pretty sure we know all of them, so we're all good.
Yeah, I think we do.
Or best say that they know us very, very well.
Oh, there we go. I've just got the notification that the Shadow Files are now live.
Woohoo! I did that like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Great technology we have.
Mm.
So yeah, I know you guys really wanted to get stuck into that serial killer thing, and like I said, it went to air on Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
We can continue the conversation, and then we can get into some of the bits about some of this as well, because I have bloody hell, the noises coming out of Jeremy's room today are weird.
Yeah, it's possessed.
Ah.
My butthole is possessed. It is making some weird noises and smells.
Don't you hate when that happens when your butthole is possessed?
I just don't understand sometimes. Like
Jesus.
you put good things into your body, and the smell that comes out.
For real. Damn it, Zozo.
Did you just not say that word? Did you?
What, Zozo?
Yeah.
What was it, Gary?
No, you heard. It's all good.
No. Huh?
I didn't
alright.
hear that.
What if you say
said
it? So if you say it backwards, does that mean they go back in their box? Oz.
Oz. Oz. I don't know.
Oz.
I don't know.
Oh, great. Now we said it 4 times. We're screwed.
And we said it backwards. Shit.
Oh, man.
You know what they say about saying things backwards.
All right.
You're
All
an
right. Let's just
idiot.
stop it right here and put Zozo back into Jeremy's butt.
Poor Jeremy.
Trust me, you don't want Zozo in there. It ain't gonna live long.
Hey, we've got 5 people in there now. 2 people have just popped in here
Woohoo!
putting Zozo back in Jeremy's box. That's what they heard first up.
Well, that song "Tainted Love" wasn't written just about love.
Well, just
Anyway.
for clarification, I didn't say box.
That is true.
Okay. Well, I'm paraphrasing there. So we are, like I said, we are talking. Why can't we just get on?
So here's the question: paraphrasing. Define that for me.
No.
Paraphrasing.
No, I'm being serious here.
Hang on a
It's
sec.
phrasing paranormally.
That's not what I was going at, but yeah.
Hang on a
Well,
sec.
no, just the only thing that got me was paraphrasing. Then you got like Olympics. Then you got paranormal. Does that mean like
I
we're
didn't invent
all
the bloody term.
paralyzed, or is paraphrasing like mansplaining? Like only people in wheelchairs can do it?
Let's see what Google says.
I'm getting it banned for sure.
Yeah, can you please stop this line of conversation?
Well, I'm keeping it going. Shish
Yeah,
kebabs.
that's completely wrong, David.
Like Zoink Scoop.
There you go. We've already lost 2 people. Where are we?
Paraphrasing means expressing someone else's ideas.
Aha.
Hang on a sec. Sorry, I'm just talking to Dion. How's my keyboard? Is it louder than yours?
Look, different strokes for different folks.
That was just a yes or no. You got it. It's politics and politicians' answers to shit. You ask a yes or no question. You
Well,
get
no,
15
well,
minutes.
no. Well, when you're typing, they count keystrokes. So yeah, different strokes for different folks.
We've lost more people now. Jesus.
We got 3. Woo!
Back to 3 instead of 5 or 6 or whatever it was.
Oh well. I'm sure they'll come back. Baby, come back.
So,
They probably.
so when you mentioned, because I didn't get to see that television show, what was it called? After
I haven't got to that bit yet.
The Umbrella Academy.
We were going to get to that, but no, that's a different show. Remember?
Yeah,
We
I know.
recorded
No, I know, but I'm just waiting and pushing it further so if people are here, we can talk about it.
All right, let's get into it. Now, Christy might know a little bit more about this only because of her family connection, but we were talking about serial killers, and we did talk about Edgar Cook, who he was a fairly famous person here in WA who there was a number of people that were killed that were it was originally all pointed in different directions. So the first, there was a couple of hit and runs, and then I think there was a stabbing, and they were all pointed at different people, and different people were arrested for those. But then when he started getting a bit more into it, and then there was that Australia Day rampage that he went on when he killed, I think it was about 5 people in the one night.
Yeah.
That's when they started to realize it wasn't a load of individual cases. There was a connection between them all. But we went over that the other night in the show that came out on Tuesday, and we've dropped down to 2 people now. And,
See, wasn't us.
No. And what happened was I ended up watching this show. It just popped up in my feed, and it's the full story of Edgar Cook. And it's anybody who's got Stan, it's called After the Night. It's about a 4-parter or a 5-parter, and it talks the whole. It even talks to his wife, and they get into the whole. You get to learn a little bit more about him. And now, where I'm going at with this particular one is, when you know a lot more about him, it can completely change. Oh God, it can completely change the way you run an EVP session when you go to his grave at Fremantle Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be a few different sort of questions that I would be looking at asking, not so much about what he's famous for, but about some of the other things that his wife has sort of mentioned, and see if we can get a bit of conversation going that way. So,
Oh, was that the one that we had stopped at when Christy was with us last?
yeah,
Okay, yep, cool.
yeah.
That's interesting because I just came across a article back in 2017 titled "Serial Killer Eric Edgar Cook's Voice Heard 53 Years After His Execution."
Yeah,
And that there is also on the show that we recorded.
Yes, you hear it. Yes. And
Sorry, Fernando.
you also hear him on the in his own voice. There's video of him as well as recorded footage of him in police custody. And he had a cleft palate, I think they call it.
Yeah, cleft palate, yep.
He talked very
Softly.
strangely. He's a very short man. And yeah, they're trying to get to the reasoning behind it all. And the funny thing is, 2 men were actually arrested for different murders, and they were locked away. And one was charged with manslaughter, not murder, and he ended up serving, I think it was 5 or 6 years before he got released. The other man was charged with murder, and he was gone for 19 years before he was released. Now, Edgar Cook, he actually claimed the responsibility for both of those murders. And because the police, now this is going to be a bit of a hate thing on the police over here back in the day, but they didn't want to know. They actually made him recant his confession because they'd already put people away for that. And they didn't want to be seen as not doing their jobs properly. But he ended up recanting that. But when he eventually faced the death sentence, one of the last things he said to the priest was, "I did kill these people." Now, not only did he say that he killed these people, he actually gave a description of where it happened, the scene,
Everything.
how it happened, everything that was never even released to the public. The only way you could know is if you were on the case investigating it, or you were there when it happened.
Yeah.
And he still didn't want to do it. Eventually, they end up getting attributed to him, and these people were both released. But to this day, the police have never apologized to them. They've never received any compensation for being imprisoned and their lives being ruined. And it makes you wonder how many other people are
The government's
locked away.
never wrong.
No, for crimes that they didn't commit. Now, when we talk about reasons for hauntings and for bad energy, being locked away in a prison, the crime you've been committed for, or the crimes that you have alleged to have committed, are just it's not good, and that's going to really build that energy up for a haunting to happen.
And then that just goes to the whole keeping the hauntings and having a DeFeo house drama going on.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm.
You know,
Fernando's a lot closer to that place than what we are, but
Yeah.
well, he was very close there at one point.
I was actually, unfortunately, at the time, it is or was, because I heard something about that. The people living there sold the house. So let's see, who knows? But it's gone quiet. The only thing that lives in that house is the legacy.
so you've actually been inside there?
No, I haven't been in, but I've been on, like, in front, right next to their gate. But I felt like, since it was a nice neighborhood, it just was kind of weird having me and my partner at the time, like, just two Latinos, kind of, just hanging around. Oh, Dion, what's funny, Fernando? No, it was when Gary was, speaking and saying his piece, and then all I heard was Jeremy's chair.
Come on, man.
That's why.
Here I am trying to enjoy myself, and I'm getting picked on.
No. Hey guys, let's do a GoFundMe for a new chair for Jeremy. But
I mean, lucky you can't see my hands, eh?
Ew, what are you
we're not going to
wearing?
go fund me for your hands.
Oh man, no pineapple shorts here.
Anyway, getting back onto topic. Jeremy and I all about this one.
What?
Even his chair sounds like it's bloody hell, man. Seriously, you need to oil.
Who said that? Who said that was my chair?
Well, there we go. You need to oil that as well.
I think I know what it is. There we go. Fixed. Close enough. It's a leather chair.
Wrong. Anyway, yeah. Well, I've got a leather chair.
Anyway, I'll know what.
The Bernies.
Oh, I know a little bit about it.
No. Where I'm going with this is, I was talking with Michael at work today, and he's right into all the same sort of stuff that we're into. He's been out on paranormal investigation with stuff like that.
So he's screwed in the head as well.
Well, at the same level as us, if you want to take it that way. And he mentioned about the Bernies, and the Bernies house is literally only 5 minutes away from where I work. And what are your thoughts on the possible activity in that place? Because it's a husband and wife couple that were accused of mass murders, and I do believe that the victims were buried around the house, weren't they?
No, not all of them. There were some through the pines, Nangara, and the pine plantation south as well. I honestly don't think that house would have a lot of residual. I think Bernie's cell in Fremantle would have more activity, being the age of the building and the type of paint that they used back then. And I think Bandy Up as well.
Because you got to remember that the house that he's in was built probably in the 60s or the 70s. So even though there would be lead-based paint in there, they wouldn't have stripped that. They would have just painted over the top of it. So it'd be interesting to know if the people that live there now have actually experienced any weirdness.
I think if they did, it would be all over the news, being how high profile that case was for us here.
Well, if they want it being made public, I mean, they could just be dealing with it and going, "No, we're not."
Like I've walked past that house at night, and it doesn't feel any different from walking past your neighbour's house.
Yeah.
Dion's just popped up there. My mother-in-law's best friend was one of those of the Bernie's victims.
Wow. Do we know?
That's heavy.
Have we got any information you can
share?
Not.
But
too graphic or
look, as for like the pines where they'd found bodies dumped as well from the Bernies, you go through that place, and that place is horrendous. So many areas there where you just get this the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. I've had car troubles in some places.
You've had your own experiences there with like
Yeah,
things, you know?
I've seen people hanging from trees in there, and it's not cool. That whole place is just a dark force of energy. Needs to be burnt.
I wouldn't even say it's on the same level as the suicide forest in Japan. There's lots more stuff that happens there. It's like
it's the
Vegas, isn't it? It's like the surrounds of Vegas. A lot of questionable characters would get rid of certain things in and around the pines and stuff.
100%. I've gone through. You see burning piles of things when you go through there. There's cars that shouldn't be there that are there. Guns have been found out there. A lot of stuff.
Yeah. I know you're only new to your area where you are over in Florida, but do you know of any areas that are reputed to be a depositing ground for?
Yeah, it's the gators in the swamps.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of stories about the Everglades, but as far as places, I haven't really looked for places of potential burial sites. I've been more interested in looking, into what I like to do, exploring, abandoned locations and stuff. So hopefully soon I would be going and sharing those places with you guys. No, unfortunately, we're gonna go too deep into it. She passed now, so can't even ask her anymore.
Okay.
I was just reading what Dion.
No.
Yeah. No, we know where you're at.
Oh my god!
What,
guys? I am looking at the thumbnail of our live on YouTube.
Yeah.
Are you guys saying the same thing? I wish I could just turn the camera so you could look at Jeremy's face on this.
Am I like this?
No, like it. I can't even do it. I can't even do it.
The thumbnail.
See, Gary, there was a thumbnail originally, and Gary was like this.
Probably.
Was that the same one? Yeah, he is. It is. He's like this.
Is somebody going to take a screenshot?
And then Fernando's like this.
Shoot. Hold on.
And I'm like this.
Hold on. Let's see.
Now, see, my thumbnail's different to yours. I look possessed.
Jeremy's in the middle. That's weird because on my screen, Jeremy's on the left, Fernando's in the middle, and I'm on the right.
Oh man, it sounds like it's thundering out there.
Where? At your place?
No, at your end or whoever.
No, we're good here. Nothing happened. Come on, Fernando, get the height right. Your head's poking.
He's just trying to show off his pecs in beast mode.
And his hairy armpits.
Beast mode.
He's got fuzz in his pits.
Hey.
But yeah,
I'm more interested to know about this Burns character.
Bernie's.
There's the Bernie's. No, it wasn't Burns. There was two, the male and female. He's passed away. I'm pretty sure from the last of my knowledge, she is still in Bandy Up Women's Prison, and she pretty much runs that joint.
Huh. Well, with the history, yeah. The Bernie. So is that a Burnies?
No, BE. It's BE.
BE. I don't know. Can I please have a phone a friend, please?
Are you serious, Dion?
BIRNIE. Yeah, it's pissing down with rain here too, man. It's thundering and pissing down with rain here.
We've got nothing here. Hang on, but I'll have a look. No. Oh yeah, it looks like it's been raining, but it's not been raining heavy. I haven't heard anything.
So it's actually BIRNIE.
Yes.
Oh, is it BI? Okay.
The Bernies.
Christy's on Bernie as well. I thought it was an E, but everybody's got a slightly different.
Hey, baby.
David and Catherine Bernie. BIRNIE.
I'm hearing voices.
Yeah, so am I.
Oh, when we did the live last week, and I Oh no, you weren't in the live last week, but Fernando said he could
The
hear
whole-
my.
okay.
I think Fernando's on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah, but Fernando said that he heard a female's voice in here,
Hmm.
and when I played it back,
Alright, go.
I think Christy actually gave me the timestamp for it as well. I did hear a voice.
I mean, I actually thought it was like an emergency, so I picked up the phone call. But we're on live right now.
Hi, baby. Love you.
Okay.
Here we go. This is what happens when we're live streaming. We're all in.
Yeah. Hey, Fernando. You
Yeah,
forgot to
sorry
mute.
about
You
that,
forgot.
guys.
You forgot to mute your microphone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I could have sworn I muted it. But anyway, yeah. So what I was looking into was the BIRNIE.
Yes.
Bernies.
There should be two of them, a male and a female. But anyway, my
David,
question,
and Catherine.
yeah, my question is though, when these things happen and they happen around a house like that, how much? Because you've got to think they can't be in the right mindset to be doing things like that in the first place. What other energies are they pushing out into the walls themselves unwittingly that we just don't know about? Or the neighbors? And I mean, I'm pretty sure some of the bodies were buried around the house as well as some of them being dumped and stuff. And I could be wrong, but just that happened.
Sorry, my typewriter's just a bit noisy.
No shit, Sherlock. But yeah,
So
interesting.
You put up a picture of those guys, and they just absolutely look like pure sin.
Yeah,
and not in the good sense.
No.
This guy looks like the original Freddy Krueger.
So David was actually found in his cell at Casuarina Prison on the 7th of October 2005. He was 54 years old, and inquest found he had hanged himself from an air vent using a length of cord. Now, I'm sorry, but you don't need to put on a bloody inquest to find out how someone's died if they've hung themselves. They'd still be hanging there.
Well, yeah. I guess unless they did something before they did that.
That's what I mean.
But, you know, if there's 3 causes of death, they're still dead at the end of it all.
Yeah.
Take your pick as to which one.
And as for Catherine Burney, that evil piece of shit, she's in Banyat Women's Prison.
Oops, sorry.
No, I don't care. When you're someone like this, you're a piece of shit. She's a prison librarian and appeared in the prison production of Nonsense. Her parole application was directed.
Did you bring nuns into it?
I don't know. Attorney General of WA, Jim McGinty, said that her release was unlikely while he remained in office. Good, she should be left to rot.
It's funny you mentioned Jim McGinty because this special like we were talking about after the night, all about Edgar Cook. Jim McGinty was on that because he was talking about a lot of, because he was the Attorney General for WA at the time, and he was talking a lot about the case as well as Brian Burke, who was our premier at one point as well. And it's just interesting to get different points of view because I mean they also talk to some snobby old people from the western suburbs, and like the first murder that happened out towards, I think it was out, not out Bayswater way, but out just over the other side in the eastern suburbs they called it. And all these snobby people from like Cottesloe and places like that were saying, oh, you know, we're not so interested because it's in the eastern suburbs. But then the next one that happened was in Cottesloe, which is the richer areas, sort of closer to the ocean and stuff like that, in the very well-to-do area. And that's when they really started to worry a little bit. And then when everybody else started getting popped off around, I think there was one Shenton Park just near Karrakatta. That's where one of the hit and runs happened.
That's and So the first one was Mary Nilsson. She was a psychology student of UWA. She met David at the car wreckers shop, and David Nelson was gagged and chained to a bed and raped by David, with Catherine observed. She was then taken to Glen Eagle near Albany Highway in Bedfordale, where she was raped again, strangled with a nylon cord, and then David stabbed her, thinking that it would speed up her decomposition, as he read that in a book somewhere. Catherine joined him by burying Nelson in a shallow grave, which she would receive her degree for psychology for the university 1 year after her murder. The second one was in Claremont. She was hitchhiking in Claremont, and they have grave sites as well, close to grave sites in Glen Eagle as well. Another one was picked up off of Canning Highway.
So they're actually all in fairly close proximity where they were living. Actually, they're all sort of down. She is
actually still alive.
Yeah,
she's still alive. Yeah,
and she wants to be released. She's asking for her freedom.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah. She won't ever get out. No. The Nolene Patterson, she had sleeping pills thrown down her throat and strangled, and Glen Eagle, and buried it away from the others.
So how many people did they actually kill in total?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's other possible victims.
See, Edgar Cook, I think he was charged with 5 murders, but then there were all the hit and runs and everything else. That was 5 in one night.
So,
Australia Day, 1965.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so possibly 8 victims all up.
Yeah. We're a sleepy little town, and we've actually got and then we've got the Claremont killer, which we don't. Well, let's go there. Okay, we did a public ghost hunt down at Karrakatta there one night, and I think I've told this story on here before, but I'll say it again because it's sort of on topic at the moment. We did see, I think it was Kira Glennon's grave around there, and our psychic did pick up some stuff at the time. But anyway, we didn't stay there for long. We just sort of passed through just out of respect and everything. And we were sort of heading back towards where the cars were parked. And there were a number of people, including a certain person that Jeremy always loves to talk about. I'm not going to mention her name, but she was there this night as well.
At what location, sorry?
At Karrakatta. You'll know the person I'm talking about.
Okay.
Go there in case they start to watch.
Yes.
Yeah. And anyway, what happened was I was making sure everybody was, because people were sort of spread out a little bit, I was making sure everybody was sticking together, because there was a person sort of following, but staying in the shadows out the way. I mean, obviously, it's a lot of shadows in a cemetery at night time, but they would hide behind trees and then they would poke out. They thought they were being perfectly disguised and just watching what we are doing. Now, the silly bugger didn't realize we all had night vision cameras and things like that. So very clearly, his eyes were shining. We could see him there, nice and green and everything. So we knew who he was. I mean, he was at a distance, so we couldn't really make out features, but we could see there was a male person following us. So at that point, we made sure all the girls got back in their cars, locked their doors, and headed out. And then we were sort of the last ones to jump in our cars, the guys, and then we sort of left as well. And we thought that was the end of it. We just thought it was a weirdo going through Karrakatta Cemetery, and that was it. But that was on the Saturday evening. On the Tuesday, I got a phone call from a detective who was part of the Perth Major Crime Squad, and he proceeded to tell me how I'd been at the cemetery that night, and he proceeded to tell me the names of every single person that was on my that was there with us. Well, not every single person, but most of them, and that's when I worked out that they'd obviously had cameras around and they got license plates, and then they've obviously looked back through registrations and they got names like that. Now, the reason why he was contacting me was, one, that we were fairly close to Kira Glennon's grave, and he wanted to know why we were in that area. So he explained what we do and everything, and he was fine with that. And the second thing was that there was an extra person that was seen stalking our group. And I said, yes, we saw the person. I said, we made sure all the girls got in safe and everything. And I just wanted to know why he was actually contacting me specifically over something like that. And he said, well, the person that is stalked is one of the persons of interest in the Claremont serial killings. Now, a name wasn't mentioned back then, but I can't remember what that name was. So I don't know if the guy that was ultimately caught, charged, and put into jail for the murders. I don't know if it was him or not. But when you go back through that guy's, I can't even remember his name even now. But when you go back through that guy's history, he has a history of stalking people at Karrakatta Cemetery. So it's very, very interesting. So where I'm going with this is, if you do go out on a paranormal ghost hunt and you're in a cemetery, a public place like that, please make sure you make every member of the group very aware that they stay in groups of at least 2 or 3 people for their own safety, and not to venture off too far, and stay definitely within viewing distance of everybody, so that if anything does eventuate, help can be there in seconds.
Yeah.
That's a little public service thing from our point, because we personally experienced this. Now, the outcome of that was he wanted us to let him know every time we were heading out that way. So I would give them a call, and he said, not a problem, just as long as we know. So when we see the cars, we know it's you guys. And I was in contact with him for probably 3 years before I think he'd moved on from the Major Crime Squad at that point. So the other people weren't really interested in what we were doing. They just said, no, you're all good. We like it when you guys go out to these places, because when they see groups of people like you, it tends to keep the vandals away that like to spray paint and damage and vandalize things. So they do like us hanging around, so long as, well, they know that we do everything in a very responsible way. So we're actually lucky like that. We don't get any hassles from security and stuff. But you do have to be aware that there are other people in these public places that can come in and cause issues. But yeah, we could have potentially had a very close encounter with a very serious. I mean, he had 3 victims that we know of, and one of the bodies has never been found.
So he's never been caught?
Yeah, he got caught. They caught him, but he was only charged with 2 of the murders because they can't find a body for the first victim, Sarah Spears, and because they couldn't find a body, they couldn't charge him with her murder. But she disappeared in the same area in a very similar fashion, and it happened. They just haven't found his body. They found Jane Rimmer, and they found Kira Glennon though.
So going back to the Bernies quickly. So in 2017, Catherine's youngest son, under the alias Peter, called for her execution, stating that his relationship to her has resulted in him being assaulted on multiple occasions, and he also supports Moise Campaign. So how would you be? You're that much of a piece of shit that your kid wants you dead.
Yeah. No. I mean, okay, you go to Amityville. Ronald DeFeo Jr., man, he killed his entire family.
Supposedly.
I mean, the jury is out whether his sister Dawn helped him with it, and then
I think she was the mastermind.
Yeah.
I reckon she did it, and then he took her out, and he copped all of it.
Possibly.
Man, there are so many different stories behind that. I mean, there's even some theories that it was a mob hit.
Well, it is well known, because I think his dad, Ronald DeFeo Sr., was like a car. He sold cars and things like that, but it was also a bit of a front for the mob back in the 70s. And obviously that was the golden heyday of the mafia in and around, especially in and around the New York.
Look, I've watched The Sopranos, man. We know what goes on.
Oh yeah.
But it makes you think about some of these places. You know, we did talk about Peter Sutcliffe, the Yorkshire Ripper, and some of his victims. And
he was doing good for the community, though. He was taking out trash.
And the thing was, people
well, that's what he thought.
People weren't interested in pursuing this guy because he was just taking out all the prostitutes. It wasn't until he took out that 16-year-old girl by accident, or I go accident like that, but when he killed that 16-year-old girl, that's when the public turned against this killer, and he was prolific. I mean, we talk about, you know, I think five murders in one night, and then there was a few others that I think there was about 8 others that were sort of attributed to him. The Bernies, you said 5 or 6 people there,
Possibly 8.
And obviously Ronald DeFeo Jr. He wasn't a serial killer. He was a mass murderer because he did it all right away. Peter Sutcliffe, he's a completely different. His numbers were like in the 20s.
Yeah, and he also got off on doing it as well.
Yeah.
So
Jeremy did go through some of that weird.
His cricket vest.
Yeah.
I am going through the list of serial killers here in the States.
Yeah.
There is a person who is proven victims are 8, but possible victims is between 50 to 130 plus victims.
Jesus.
And that's serial, not mass killings. Not mass killings. These are serial killings.
Well, look at Mark.
Serial
My
killers.
dad was interviewed for the Ripper.
His name is Ronnie Alcala.
Where did you get that from?
It's one of the things that's come from the chat.
The dating game
in my
killer.
chat. Wow. If you watch that TV show, I think it's called Mindhunter.
Yeah, it was a predecessor to Criminal Minds.
Yeah, that goes right into where
that was based
came about.
But that was based on true events as well.
It is, and it was based on the invention of the term serial killer and criminal profiling. So that's really interesting. If anybody hasn't watched that,
damn.
Well, that goes into a lot. Ed Kemper. It goes into obviously. I can't remember if they did Richard Ramirez.
I think they did. They did BTK.
Yeah. Well, he was the one that was in the background in that one that was still killing, and he was the one they were trying to work out the profile on.
So, but that's what I mean, and that's where they also came into using the whole McDonald triad. So with serial killers, they had a theory suggesting that cruelty to animals, fire setting, persistent bedwetting are indicators of violent and/or predatory behavior. Still a theory, but they use it, and it does work.
Now, when we originally started talking about serial killers and stuff, when we did the episode that went to air on Tuesday night, which it's on the channel if anybody wants to go back and watch it, we were looking at it from a point of view of what kind of mindset these people were in and how it affects them and how it could potentially cause hauntings and stuff like that. And it's such a big topic that I think as we do, it just went in a completely different direction to what we were actually after. And even tonight, it is definitely still going in a different direction now. I don't know if my chat has frozen up or not, but I haven't had any messages since Dion went, "Hi, Sam." So Sam,
I don't know what message. I don't know what Mark platform Mark said it on. I think it might have been YouTube. And just said, "Guys, yeah, my dad was interviewed for the Ripper."
Oh, wow,
that's interesting. I mean, in all honesty, there was a hell of a lot of people interviewed in the Ripper case because that was such a big thing. I was over in Yorkshire. I lived in Yorkshire when that all happened. We lived through it. I mean, although that all happened sort of in South Yorkshire and in the west of Yorkshire, I grew up in the north of Yorkshire, but it didn't, as I've said previously, it didn't stop the stories that the Ripper was coming to town. And I don't know how people would know that because they didn't know who he was.
Well, apparently it had ties to Australia at the end of it.
It what?
Apparently has ties to Australia by the end of it.
Really?
Yeah. What did Mark just
I am
say? Dad?
wondering here because there are literally hundreds of serial killers here in the States, but they all have like a nickname.
Yeah, you got the son of Sam. You've got the Night
Well,
Stalker. The what they
That's
call him?
Tom
The
Miami Trail
Zodiac,
Strangler.
the Zodiac Killer. Oh, that's a good one.
The
Oh,
Candyman,
we can see you there, Sam. We can see you, mate.
the Torso Killer, the Borgia.
well,
of Maine.
well, even before the Son of Sam, it was a 40. What was it? The
Oh, here we go. Everything's popped through all of one.
44 caliber killer.
Yep. Oh, his dad was a Geordie. Well, I mean, Geordie was a little bit further up, but yeah, they were certainly I mean, they went across as far as Manchester looking for people. Yeah.
But how's this?
Friend.
What?
Oh, it's Mark. I know Mark.
Which Mark is it?
Mark used to work with Lynn.
Ah,
Check this out, you guys.
He sends me messages all the time. He's a Middlesbrough supporter like me. Doesn't mean they're any
1927
good, but
through 1927, 1954, Nanny Doss, known as the Giggling Granny,
oh, that just sounds creepy. That.
also known as the Jolly Black Widow.
Yeah, that's a little bit less creepy than the giggling granny. Can you imagine
So
being
her
a
death
victim
count
of
is
the giggling
11.
granny?
I don't know if that'd be a good thing or not. Is she a hot granny or an ugly granny?
Well,
I
she's
know,
been
but she
married
sounds
4
creepy.
times and poisoned all of her husbands.
I have heard about that. Another podcast
Hello,
I listened to was talking about that.
Yeah.
So you type in Jack the Ripper Australian ties, and it brings up
Are you talking Jack the Ripper or the Yorkshire Ripper?
Jack the Ripper.
Okay, so we're going back to the 1800s now.
Yes.
Yep.
So they have turned around and said that it is suspected that Frederick Bailey Deeming was to be the suspected serial killer Jack the Ripper.
Oh, mate, you do realise they have got a 100% match for Jack the Ripper now. They know who it was.
Hmm.
Yeah, they finally discovered it. Came across all the news probably 2 months ago.
Yeah, it was DNA lifted from a shawl. Yep, and that came to Deeming. That came to Frederick Deeming.
Oh, there we go.
Yep. So he was born in England, the UK, 1853. Died the 23rd of May, 1892 in Melbourne.
Bloody hell, he made it over here. Oh, there you go.
That
was before my time, by the way.
Supposedly,
look at that. Fernando's not even.
He was a
Huh?
well. He was Australia's first known serial killer as well, and he was also known to have connections with the Whitechapel murders.
Yeah, well, the Whitechapel murders were the Jack the Ripper murders.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of
Annie
flying by.
Chapman and everyone.
I'm just kind of flying by through the list
Mhm.
to see who has the most proven bodies.
Kills. Yeah. And don't keep us waiting.
Not I'm telling you, there's hundreds of serial killers here in the States.
But what defines a serial killer though? What's the definition of a serial killer? Is it someone that has more than 4 murders?
A serial killer is one that I don't know about the number of them, but there's a series over a period of time. A mass murder is somebody who kills a large number of people in a single event.
So a person who commits a series of murders, often with no apparent motive and a typical following of characteristics and predictable behavioral patterns.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Are you on Wikipedia, sir?
Sorry.
Cindy, who was suspected of being in Coolgardie Cemetery? Need to know who that is, who she's talking about. Unless she's talking about the Jack the Ripper guy. But didn't you say he died in Melbourne or he moved to Melbourne?
Luis Garavato, Colombia, Ecuador, and Venezuela, 92 to 99, 193 proven victims.
Jesus.
Proven.
Proven victims. Possible
No.
victims, 194 to 300 plus.
How do you get away with that number of people?
Pedro Lopez, 110 proven.
Jack the Ripper.
Mikhail Popkov, Russian, 83 victims. Dude, America isn't even in the top 5 for this. Iran, China. There you go. America. The highest count in America is Samuel Little.
Okay.
Proven
I just read him.
Proven 60 victims. He was an American serial killer who was convicted of 8 murders and confessed to committing 93 murders between 1970 and 2005.
Known as the choke and stroke killer.
Does that mean he chokes and gets off? Or maybe he went after men, just choked them and stroked them, and they're just like, oh, I'm dead.
Well, no, you know, there's a lot of killers do have some very devious.
Oh, the Green River Killer. Have you seen that guy's face?
No.
Gary Leon Ridgway is not an American serial killer. He has 49 proven victims and 90 plus possibly. He targeted sex workers as well. He was from Seattle.
That seems to be an easy thing for them because they the girls like to go to dark places to do their business, and it's easy for them to do what they got to do.
I still haven't had Australia pop up here yet. We've had Indonesia with 42.
Indonesians, wow.
Yeah, John Wayne Gacy, he sits at 33 victims. He was a piece of work too.
He was the clown dude, wasn't he?
Yeah, John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown. Pogo the Clown, that's the one. He was executed by lethal injection in 94. He was just next level.
It's shocking when you think about how many people do this sort of thing. How long is it going to be before the next one is?
Let's be honest, the American government probably is one of the biggest serial killers.
Yeah.
And then you got the Bayou Strangler. He's got proven 23 victims, and that was 2006. He finished.
The Bayou
Strangler, the Louisiana serial killer.
So
Fernando's going to be talking soon.
I came across a TikTok of a stand-up comedian, and he was, talking about serial killers, and basically who has the most bodies on them. It would be. Oh, how was the joke? No. Basically, the executioner. The executioner who would unalive all of these people. Wouldn't he be like the serial killer that made it?
No, because that's his job. His job was made legal.
Okay, but wouldn't he be the serial killers that made it?
Well, no.
Like that is able to do what most of these would do illegally, he could do illegally. So wouldn't he be like the guy that made it?
Wouldn't it be like the American military, the Russian military? Wouldn't
the military and government, that's multiple people. We're talking about one person.
Not if it's Uncle Sam, it's not.
Ooh, kudos. You got me there.
I am yet to see any Australians. You got William Bonin with 21, the Freeway Killer.
Well, like I said, we've got the Bernies, we've got the Claremont Killer, but the numbers are very low compared to some of these other ones.
Extremely low. Like Ted Bundy still had 20 proven up to 100 plus victims.
Not that we're putting it out there to anybody who's that way inclined.
No, please don't go and do it.
Don't do it. We don't want to turn around and have somebody turn around and say, yeah.
Who has 284 confirmed victims? Mark. Harold Shipman, English GP.
There's a list of serial killers that's never been caught. So check the name of this guy out. In Detroit, Bigfoot Killer.
How many Bigfoot has he killed?
Did he keep the body so he can prove that?
Well, look, here's the question though for that. Is it like if you have multiple of the Bigfoot, is it like 3 Bigfoot or is it 3 big feet?
3 foot big.
Like 1 Bigfoot, 3 big feet. I don't know.
The Bra murderers.
Bra?
brawl murders.
See, I'm trying to find. Yeah, sorry.
From 1967 to 1971 in Connecticut.
How many?
I mean, not a lot. Just this guy's a rookie. He only has 5.
Dude, with
I'm sorry.
Barely a serial killer by the ranking so far.
well, having a look at the list, America aren't even like the top serial killers with the highest known count. They're all in the like 15 to 30 range.
There are people that are really sick. Really sick.
Yeah, and what you've got to remember as well is we always go by, and this sounds so wrong, but it's all about quality, not quantity.
Well-
it's about how sick people can get. You know what I mean?
Well,
Somebody who's really sick and kills 5 people may be a much worse killer or much worse person than somebody who kills 20 people, but it's just bang, you're dead sort of thing. You know what I mean? It was what's going on in the head as to how demented these people are.
Yeah. Like, so Peter Sutcliffe had 13 proven victims, possible of 33.
Yeah, there was a lot more, that they couldn't pin on him, but they
Yeah.
certainly pointed them in his direction.
Dude,
And if
South
you
Africa
actually- if you
has had a lot
actually
of
have a
serial
look-
killers.
If you actually have a look at our thumbnail for the Serial Killers, The Devil Made Me Do It video,
Yes.
Peter Sutcliffe's up in the top corner.
Oh, yeah.
And then I don't know why, but it's just a really cool picture of Charles Manson. So I thought, we'll throw that in there as well. Because, I mean, while he technically may not be responsible physically, he certainly engineered and guided
So
things to happen. And
This is-
he is a mental person. Yeah.
yeah, but Mark, yes and no, because Port Arthur was multiple shooters.
Port Arthur was a mass killing. It wasn't a.
Yeah, it was a mass shooting, but it was also more than one shooter. But like you said, not in a serial killer sense.
Somebody Bryant, wasn't it? Or something
Martin
like that.
Bryant, and that's another one you can cop up with your conspiracies. Why is nobody allowed to interview him for 100 years or whatever? Everything was seized. He didn't even really have a fair trial whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was pretty much a guy with an IQ of a potato. They've turned around and said, "You did it, didn't you?" He's like, too busy playing with chicken nuggets and rubber duckies.
Yeah, but you see, everybody always believes every single thing they hear, and we're never going to know.
See,
exactly,
no,
you know
well,
what I mean?
But no, that's I've looked at it from both sides.
Yeah.
And then you look at all the people that were there at the time as witnesses that come forward. Now, if more than 3 witnesses come forward and say it was not him, it didn't happen like this, it kind of makes you think.
You got to look at it at least a bit more seriously. Yeah.
100%. And the gun that was supposedly used was from police lockup. How does that happen?
Yeah.
Tube
Yeah.
sock killer.
The what?
The tube sock killer. Are you looking at funny serial killer names?
No. I'm still in Wikipedia and I'm still going down the list of all the crazy names that society has given these crazy.
Well, there was a guy in Japan had 11 kills confirmed. He was the deaf killer. He was a deaf guy going in and killing teenagers.
As
I bet
in,
you
deaf or
yes, like I can't hear you.
yeah.
Yeah, so he never heard the cops coming.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, Jeremy will always go there.
Can you hear me?
Oh my god.
Well, the first one that comes up for an Australian as a serial killer was between 78 and 91. It was Mr. Paul Stephen Haig.
I know that.
Australian convicted serial killer currently serving 6 sentences of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for murdering 6 people in the late 70s. He also murdered a fellow inmate in 91 and has claimed that he suffers from borderline personality disorder.
But one thing that a lot of these killers have in common,
They've killed.
a lot of them, prostitutes.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying to you before. They're an easy target because they do their business in the dark
And then-
alleys. And
Well, no-
easy for them, or easier for them.
see, Christy, see, people that kill infants are on a whole plane by themselves.
Agreed.
That is just beyond. Sorry, Gary, mute me here. Fucked up.
That didn't work. That didn't work.
Oh well, it was close
That didn't
enough.
work. Because
I'm
he got
sorry.
really close to the mic and was like, "Bah!"
Um,
Oh my
I
God.
don't know. Taking out something that's helpless and so adorable and cute, that doesn't sit right with me. And you should be hung up by your feet and battered until you do die.
Yeah, that goes back to what I was just saying about it's quality or quantity, and that's exactly the wrong words to say in this case. It's all about how.
Well, he had quantity by the looks of it, or she had quantity.
Yeah, but just kids, that's
So it's making me angry thinking about it.
Yeah.
You had John Wayne Glover in Australia, 89 to 90. He had 6 victims with 13 possible. British expat living in Australia, known by the media as the Granny Killer. He targeted elderly women and killed himself while in prison in 05.
Bloody hell.
There's a lot in the UK. There's not a lot here, which is weird because I thought we would have had more.
Yeah, but what you got? Yeah, I mean, you got to remember England's a lot older and America's a lot older than Australia, so we've still got plenty of time to catch up. Which is again not an invitation.
No, we don't want to. No. William McDonald, you got him with 5.
It is wild.
But look at what was that nurse? I think Chris, you probably know the nurse that got done for killing her victims, killing her patients. There's a big there's documentaries about it. I can't remember the lady's name. You got Leonard John Fraser, the Rockhampton rapist. He has 4 victims and 7 possibly killed.
Now, I'm going to go Ivan Milat. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and apparently England sent all the criminals here. It was Peter Sutcliffe, huh?
There's a bit of a time discrepancy amongst all of that, but yeah. And going into like frame of mind and things like that, and kiddie killers and all of that, it's probably not something I should be bringing up, but where I used to work, we had a guy that worked with us who had a pretty senior role, and he was one of the nicest guys you would think to get along with, right? On my Facebook, if you go back, there are actual photos of me with this guy at work events and things like that. And I should stop what I'm saying because we don't want Fernando smiling with what I'm about to say because it would be totally the wrong thing to do. But this guy, I didn't hear anything about him when I left that place. But when I started working where I am now, I bumped into some people. I worked with people that I used to work with back then. They told me a story about this guy, which I remember from the news. He actually murdered his own 2 children before killing himself. This is a guy that I know, and I work with every day for years, and I never saw an inkling of that. It makes you wonder when you think about these people that kill others, that how can they hide it from family members, from co-workers, from friends and things like that? And you just don't know what goes on in some people's head.
But that just goes down to the whole mental health issues, full stop. Killings aside.
Yeah.
I put on a smile every day. I'm struggling every day. This, I've had my own personal things go on, and it's just like people. I'm actually speaking to someone in counselling now, and my counsellor turned to me and she goes, "I can't see anything wrong at the moment, and it's so hard to read you and how you are." She goes, "I think that there was nothing wrong." I'm like, "Well, let's dive into that." It's just you get used to putting on a face and you keep that smile up, and people just don't know.
Yeah, push through day to day.
But you look at these people that when they are doing what they're doing to so many people, where do they? How do they get to that? You know what I mean? I know everybody turns around and says they had a
Trauma.
bad childhood and there's this and there's that, but people can have a bad childhood and still live a normal life and not do these things. There's got to be something that's there to make them do these things.
Every
Realistic way some things happen, you know.
everyone deals with trauma in different ways.
Yeah, no, but
You look at a lot of the people that have taken out sex workers, prostitutes, whatever, they have had some sort of sexual abuse in their life.
yeah, not every single.
No, but a lot
Some
of them.
It's just a lot of them. It's an opportunity thing as well.
A lot of them has to do with their state of mind and them not feeling enough, not being able to find dates, being ugly, whatever.
Yeah,
Look at that goes for Peter Sutcliffe as well.
yes.
He couldn't have the lady. That's yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fucked up.
And they actually reckon that had a little bit to do with Edgar Cook. Although in this show that I was telling you about, After the Dark, if anybody who's After the Night, sorry, if anybody who is interested in the Edgar Cook story, it's on Stan. You can watch that. He actually, his wife is a lovely lady. His wife was a lovely lady, and she actually said he was a womanizer. So even though he had the cleft palate and he had this, he said he couldn't get women, and that's why he would target a lot of them, even though some of the people he targeted were men. Yeah, I just don't get it because I just don't get it, man. I can't even put my, I've often said to Lynn, I don't understand that. And she says, well, you will never understand that because you don't think in that, you're not in that frame of mind. You can't think because you're not that type of person. And she's right. I just can't even begin to fathom how somebody gets to that point. I mean, I've had some very low points in my life. I've had a lot of high, I've got a very good life. But as with everybody, there are moments when you are scraping the barrel at the bottom, but you pick yourself back up. And these people just, for some reason, something just clicks in them and they go in a different direction.
Yeah. Well, you look at Edmund Kemper, the co-ed killer. He had several close experiences with death himself. He was tortured as a child.
He's that big shot, isn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kemper stated in interviews that later on in life, his favorite games to play as a child were gas chamber and electric chair, in which he asked his younger sisters to tie him up and flip an imaginary switch. He would then tumble over and writhe on the floor, pretending that he was being executed by gas inhalation or electric shock. He also came close to death several times as a child. Once his elder sister tried to push him in front of a train. Another time she pushed him into the deep end of a swimming pool where Kemper almost drowned. So that there straight away. If anybody's kids had that sort of shit going on here now, you go send them to the doctor.
Mm.
And this guy killed his grandmother and his grandfather as well. Like, he had an argument and shot her once in the head and twice in the back, and then stabbed her several times.
Mm.
He came home. His grandfather came home and shot him in the driveway. Like, it's crazy.
Now, getting back, getting a little bit off the serial killer side of things and back to more what we're sort of known for. You've got to think, right? When you talk about demons and you talk about possessions and about totally messed
You
up
said demons again.
I know I said that.
I'm going to hang that over you every episode.
I know you do. But some people, you look at a lot of these.
It's
that
state of mind.
Freak. The son of Sam, it was to do with a dog.
Yeah, but that was also to get out of it. He was also found that he was mentally healthy.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying is how many people try to get, because there's so many people. The first thing that goes down the mental.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not responsible for my actions and things like that.
And that's why after the Son of Sam, America actually passed a law as well against it.
Yeah, but there's got to be some where it potentially is something.
Oh, there has been.
Yeah,
100%.
There've been times when we've been in the city and you just get a vibe. It's like they're oozing these vibes that you don't even understand. It's just a normal person walking past, but you just get the heebie-jeebies, and they're not doing anything. They're not looking straight through your eyes or anything like that. They are just walking past, but you get
That's the aura.
heebie-jeebie. Yeah. And have you ever experienced that?
Every time I walk past the mirror. Damn.
But you know what I mean? I remember once when we went to the doctors and we sat in the waiting room, and this family came in, and I shit you not, they were freaking aliens. They were human. There was just something about, they looked weird. You know how you see these pictures of the Men in Black and stuff like that? It was a whole freaking family of them. And again, they acted weird. They sort of, just everything about them was weird. There've got to be some people who are accused of murders that are the same way, that it's just beyond explanation. And that they're the ones that probably do end up getting locked up for being not right in the head. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's why a lot of these people who do horrendous things, they claim insanity right away just so they can lie in their sentence.
Well, that's the easiest thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, whether or not you can prove it, that's that's a different story.
That
Quiet point.
Adam's gone inbred.
What, like raisin toast, fruits in bread?
Well, that leads me back, getting back to TV shows and stuff, right? You know, everybody knows I'm a Doctor Who fan and stuff like that. Now, there's an offshoot of that called Torchwood. Now, there's this one episode where they head off into the country because there's been a lot of people disappeared and stuff like that, and they end up coming across this little, not like a farmhouse, but it's like a mini little town. But every single member in that town were basically inbred, and they had this, what they called the harvest. It wasn't a harvest they were doing. It was hitchhikers, it was travelers and things like that, and they would catch them, they would butcher them, and
organ harvest, food harvest, fruit harvest, same thing.
They would eat them, not harvest them for their bits and pieces.
Well, then it is technically a harvest.
Yeah, I guess, but it makes you wonder that things like that actually happened really out there. Some things could be so horrific that we would never know because the powers that be want to hold that from us.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. It's interesting.
Oh, look, murders are one of those things that get swept under the rug so easily here. Even here, you go through the archives of the court proceedings that are happening now, and how many people are getting convicted of murder and having more than one victim. It's just like, if this was released to the mainstream media and talked about on a daily basis, people would shit themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody talks about demons being this manifestation, this actual
the jinn
wings or whatever. Well, that's Muslims have the jinn, but it's I always go back to that old National Lampoon
here we go.
Animal House, and I think, was it Jim Belushi that was in that? I think it was Jim Belushi that was in that. And there's this one scene where he's got the little angel on one shoulder and the little devil on the other shoulder, trying to sway him to do what he's going to do. And that's just it's a very good way of picturing what it is. It's the voices in your head. Everybody has them, and they're not something to be taken literally, but it's your conscience playing against something else. And it's like, I know I can do this, but I shouldn't. But will I? And
then there's the whole adrenaline rush that goes with it as well.
And then sometimes you get that big rush of adrenaline, and it doesn't matter what's happening up here. That's just going, boom, let's do it. And then you're left to deal with it afterwards. And that comes down to chemical imbalances and things like that. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if some killers, it's not the act of killing, it's that rush that they get of adrenaline that's driving them to do it.
I mean, there's other ways to get adrenaline, but
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
when
Roller
some of
coaster.
these people who are messed up find something that works, they generally don't change from it. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So
So you made a comment earlier about you know basically documented all of this murders that's been going on and everything. So out of curiosity, I googled how many people are actually missing because
Oh yes, let's go.
you
So
do realize this is going to take you straight to the back rooms again.
Yep. But not even that. I was actually just thinking our Kings Park here, the homeless people, the people that go missing, people that get used for testing,
Yep.
all that bullshit.
Yeah.
So I mean, here in the States, in Florida specifically, here where I'm at, there are 2,424 people missing
That's reported.
Yeah.
reported. Unidentified persons cases are 906 here alone.
And then you look into that, how many children in the US are missing.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And then that goes into the whole Pizzagate thing. Conspiracies.
Yeah, we love conspiracies. We really do.
So, as far as 2022 is concerned, according to a NAMIS database, there are 600,000 people declared missing every year.
Yeah, a lot of them turn up, but there's a good percentage that just disappear and they're never seen or heard from again. It doesn't mean they've died or been murdered. I mean, it could be something like they've been sucked into a parallel dimension. They could be, they could have gone into the back rooms and haven't found their way out. They could
Possibly do the elevator game and just
play the
lost.
elevator game.
Well, in WA here, in WA here, we've got 361 long-term missing persons recorded
Yeah.
across the state.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
I mean, this is just a dark rabbit hole that we're going down into.
Look, I don't know what. Let us know if you like this kind of thing, because this is a complete departure from what we normally do. There was a hint of paranormal at the start, which is disappeared into this investigation into the psyche of people that do these terrible things.
Well, they say worldwide it's roughly about 255,000.
I would have thought it was a lot more than that.
So would have I. But that's registered.
Yeah, and obviously there are so many people that we wouldn't even know about, But taking it really in a different direction is that what happens if people disappear into the back rooms, then a serial killer disappears into the back rooms as well? Because they do say when you're in the back rooms, you are being pursued by something or somebody.
True.
Or there is that sensation that people who do come back out from the back rooms.
That's a lot of
that.
to be dealing with. That's a lot of to be dealing with.
I don't know if you saw the live stream last week, Jeremy, but Fernando mentioned about how he went down
a rabbit hole.
He was doing some paint sampling where he works, and he ended up in a dark, dingy place that had yellow walls, and he could hear the flickering of the fluorescent lights, which was very reminiscent of the.
How did you get out?
Well, he didn't even take any video.
But
well, there's no doors or windows, so
no. But
in the waiting room.
I was
The waiting
taking
room.
paint samples. It's like a military facility, but when me and my partner, when we split up, I hit this corner, and then it was just literally like a corridor with different,
pick the right door.
And there was no windows. I started noticing that the freaking buzzard sound from the fluorescent light bulbs, the nasty yellow paint color, ugly rugs, and I was like, "Oh schnizzit!" That was.
So
I was like, "Oh," I just kept on thinking about Gary. What
So So here's the thing, Fernando. Like, speaking on that, and we played Phasmophobia together. You know there is a Backrooms game.
Really?
Yes.
We got to do that. We got to do that. Wow.
Yeah.
So according to this data, the state that has the most missing person is California.
No surprises.
No.
Cali.
Well, as someone once said, California knows how to party.
A little too much. A little too much.
California. Mm.
All right.
Probably get a strike on that.
I think it's time for us to go now because Jeremy's starting to sing.
Well, I see how it is.
Oh, mate, we can hear it.
I feel the love.
Number love, number love. All right. Well, let's see.
No, it's the chat has gone quiet of late as well.
It has. We got 7 people watching still.
That's not bad. We got up to 9 or 10, whatever.
I
it
feel
was.
sorry for all those 7 people that are watching because, yeah.
All right, let's put it out there. Okay, there are 7 people on the. I'm getting a sore bum. Sorry, I'm just shuffling the cheeks around. We have. Hang on, we'll wait for Fernando to stop. Whatever the hell is going on, I'm just not used to seeing
Okay.
Fernando without a hat on. It's just very creepy. Yeah, what are some of your suggestions for things that you would like to hear us talk about, and would you prefer them as a live stream topic of conversation or an actual show that we're going to do? It'd be interesting. Let us know in the chat because we'll pop them up on the screen so everybody can see. And it'd be good to get some ideas because while we can come up with stuff that we
It's
like
boring.
and it could be boring to a lot of people. If we know what you guys want to talk about, then we can talk about that, and at least we know there'll be one person interested in each topic.
That is true. Very, very, very true.
And we'll eventually
Become
off course.
professional.
Oh, there we go. Christy's gone straight to haunted objects. She has a collection of haunted objects.
Do you know what? I think we should get Christy on for that episode, and then
Yeah.
she could take us to a tour through a little haunted object collection.
Christy, if you want, I can send you the link so that you can actually come on in video and chat, and you can take us for a walk around all of your haunted objects.
Still
Oh,
yet to
that'd be
find a
awesome.
Dybbuk box.
I think Christy actually had a line on one of them at one point.
That'll be awesome.
I hate it every time Christy brings out those bloody haunted dolls.
Oh, the ones she brought out to the parks.
Well, anytime I remember going over there. Lynn and I went over there one year just before Halloween because she was setting up. Her and Mike were setting everything up.
Yes, they do a
at the time.
huge.
Big, massive display and all these creepy ass bits and pieces. And then she goes, "I'll just come in here a sec." And I can tell you what, this don't take offense to this, Christy, but what she showed us when we went inside the house was 10 times creepier than what was going on outside. And then she brought some of those dolls out and put them on the table and stuff, and they were the real haunted ones, not just creepy ass dolls, but the actual haunted ones. So, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to record that one.
Well, we've got to get her to agree to it first.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah,
be able, Christy. You'll be able to use your
don't
phone.
worry.
That works.
Yeah, if you want to do that, but you'd have to, and we would see and hear everything. But we could do that actually as a next live stream. We could do that, and we could do a walk around, looking at all the dolls, and she could tell us the history of each of the dolls and stuff like that, and why they are haunted, and creep the crap out of everybody because I freaking hate haunted dolls.
Mm.
I hate them. So, did you see that post that went up on the page where the lady fell asleep and there was dolls all around her? That's just wrong.
In the train.
No, I can't remember. Oh, hang on. We have rain. Actual rain.
Yeah, I told you that was going to happen like half an hour ago.
Yeah, well, we are a fair way down. It takes a while for it to get to us down here. So,
It's all right. A view's a view.
Well, yeah. We've got well over 200 episodes now. But if you go to our Spotify channel, I think we've only got about 20 or something on that. I've got a lot to catch up on our Spotify channel. But that will happen, and then you can just listen to them in the car, because it's probably better listening to us than it is actually looking at us.
Mm,
All right.
you'll be fine, Christy. You can talk.
It's all about how we all connect. Because when I first started doing, the podcasting with these guys, at first it was like, I'm talking to strangers, but then like during the whole entire time, it was, it's just a connection. Like we just clicked, and it was comfortable, and it was like hanging out.
And now we're family.
Extrasensory perception.
Wow, those were big words, Jeremy.
I know.
From Christy, he was reading them out. He was obviously saying,
Yeah, I'm reading it.
Going. Yeah.
Extrasensory
perception. Yeah, the ESPs are a good one. But I can almost guarantee you, as soon as we start talking about ESP, we're going to end up talking about the Montauk project. We're going to start talking about Project Stargate, and we're going to talk about all those other really cool bits and pieces that we end up going into.
SG1 or SG2? Not Atlantis.
SG2? No, there's no SG2. Well, the 9 teams. No, you're making me talk nerdy talk now. You're trying to sneak the nerd out of me. That sounded so wrong. But yeah, yes. SG1 was good. I liked Atlantis. I thought Atlantis was probably the best of the 3 of them. But there is a new one coming, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I'm going to have to dip off.
Yep.
It's got something I've got to deal with.
Not a problem.
So thank you guys for putting up with my absolute bullshit.
And we will catch up with him later on. I think we might go for another 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then we'll
but have a good night.
Yeah. All right. Catch you, mate.
Have a good one. Actually,
Yeah,
I was about to send you a message to pretty much do the same thing.
Oh, well, in that case, we might go in just a minute. There we go. So I'll be all on the lonesome, all by myself.
You could do it. I believe in you.
Yeah, nah. I think it is good. I mean, we've been going for an hour and a half, so that's not bad. But yeah, all right. I think we will call it now. So we will say goodbye to everybody, and let us know in the chat before we do disappear if you do like these live streams, because we'll try and do one every couple of weeks if people really do like them, as well as doing our normal Tuesday night videos that come out. And I've started doing the Order of the Shadow Realm videos, but there's so much editing in them that it just doesn't look much. So I've really got to work on that. And there will be some video. The first one that we will have coming out from the OSR video line, which is part of our channel, will be on the Fremantle prison. So that's a good place to start, and then we will go from there. But again, we've got 8 people watching. If any of you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That's a magic word. Apparently the algorithm does pick it up from time to time. We are aiming to get to 500 subscribers. We're 88 short at the moment. So if you've got any friends who are interested in this kind of thing, just like to shoot the breeze with some other guys talking crap or watching some of our videos and stuff, we've got 200 feet to go back through. There's a few in our campfire tales. We're going to do some more of them as well, Fernando. We're going to have to record some more of those campfire tales videos and put them out as well.
Because I've come across a couple of nice stories.
Yeah, if you have any ideas on what you want us to talk about, so ESP, we've got that going, and haunted objects. So all right, I think we will go now, because people have lives they have to live, and we have another show coming out, which is an interesting one on Tuesday. I'm not going to tell you what that one's all about yet, but you will see the thumbnail pop up over the weekend. And I hope to see you all again in our next live stream. We will be changing things up a little bit because Fernando has a few obligations over the next. Well, I think we're all right for the next couple of weeks, but then he has a few obligations that he has to commit, so he will be away for a little bit of time. We may be able to change it up and still record some stuff, but it won't be the usual kind of thing. And Jeremy is off on an international holiday with the family, so we will try and pre-record a few things so that you still get, at least every Tuesday, you'll get a new show coming out. But live streams will be taking a break, probably the end of the month, and then we won't be doing a live stream until everybody's back on board, maybe 4 or 5 weeks later on. So until then, thank you all for joining us. I will let Fernando say his little bit, and then we will go.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Oh, yeah. Have a great night for those out there, and good morning for those out here.
Yeah. And before we do go, jump on over to Fernando's channel as well, Strangers Minds, and do a like and subscribe over there as well, because we are family, we are brothers, and I was going to say we are sister teams, but there's no girly bits here.
Yeah, sausage fest.
Yep, sausage party. So everybody likes a good sausage sizzle. Oh, there we go. We have UFOs as well. Well, definitely, we've always talked about the UFOs. We will throw that in the list as well. So until next time, guys, thank you for joining us for this live stream, and we will see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye.
All right. Have a good one.
I think it stopped. It still says live. It's still counting.